All right, guys. So it's 1 o'clock on the nose, and welcome to a celebrity role play with Denny Grimes. And we have some awesome celebrities here. It's 1 o'clock. This is also I'm welcoming you guys on Facebook Live, and I want to introduce our duo, which basically represent Team Integrity out of Tucson, Arizona. We have Chase, and of course, Aaron is the CEO. Chase is the director of growth. They have an awesome team of. They can be a little bit more specific. However, they have 30-some agents, and we're attempting to model our team after them. In fact, I have a slide here. Let me just show you this. What team wouldn't be awesome if you could? Let me just do that. There we go. Maybe. All right, so maybe it's not going to do that. Hang on. I know what the problem is. There we go. There you go. Now, any team that has these words: trust, honesty, respect, integrity, loyalty, and they end with laughter. So if you were actually on this call a few minutes before we, 1 o'clock or whatever time it is, top of the hour where you are, you will notice that they do a lot of laughing, and they probably fun is a big part of their team. So I met Team Integrity through my wife, Kristen Cole. They're actually kind of powered by the Kristen Cole Network like I am. And so Aaron and Chase, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'm anxious to do the celebrity role play with you. So tell the group about Team Integrity.
Yeah, we operate in 7 or 8 different cities, and last year we closed just under 500 transactions. You nailed it. That's not just a slogan for our team. That is what we operate by. If we were to redo it, it would go trust, laughter, integrity, laughter, honesty, laughter. We classify ourselves as a bunch of misfits, but we truly enjoy each other. We are a family. We love each other, and we are honored to be able to help out some amazing clients every year.
Yep. Well, you have some awesome systems and an awesome team. I'm going to welcome them too. So as we all know, the celebrity role play, we do this every week. We follow a model, and this is and there are many people that are on here multiple times, and I applaud you for that, because here's the deal. You don't go and watch one video on golf or how to shoot pool or how to shoot a free throw and you've mastered it. I want you guys to master the formula of question-based listening enhanced scripts. And you have to be you really have to commit yourself to it. And then this is the formula we follow. No, I didn't invent this formula. You're basically talking about, oops, hang on, having a little problem here with my slides. And I don't know why that is. There we go. So here's the formula. You're going to acknowledge. And I have some examples to show you, some different examples. There's a lot of ways to acknowledge. What you want to do is put them at ease and feel like they're not made a bonehead or maybe a statement that might put you a little bit on edge. Isolate. This is the famous unload, then unpack. Unload, then unpack. Then you're going to address it. Notice I didn't say overcome it, because here's the thing. We're not in it to win it in every conversation. Meaning, there's going to be Gary Keller said last week, it's the relationship first, and then it's going to be the sale. And sometimes basically they're going to decide to wait. We have to be okay with that. So at least we're going to address it, and then we're going to ask for the close. The close could be the appointment. The close could be the permission to follow up. And here's the key, guys, and here's the beauty of this, is that these are all question-based scripts. And what's interesting about that is that when you have a conversational, a scripted conversation, you don't have to remember a lot of different verses. It's very easy once you discover the secret formula, which is basically ask questions so you gain understanding. I use this example almost every week. If you're new on the call, is this: if someone you care about calls you and says, "I'm lost." Now, if you don't care about them, you probably would hang up. If you care about them and they're lost and they don't know where they are, one of the first questions you're going to find out, well, have any idea where you are? What do you see familiar around you? Can you describe where you are? That's our role, you guys, when we're meeting buyers and sellers, because you know what? We have to meet them where they are. And we know that when you make a statement, it pushes people away. When you ask questions, particularly great questions, it leads them towards you. So when you go into the next little slide here, give me a second. I trust it's going to work, and I'm not happy about this. Examples of acknowledgement. It's going to be Oh, this is a total cluster, guys. You're not seeing what I'm seeing. So here's examples of acknowledgement. I understand. I see. Okay. I can see what you're saying. Other people have said that. I've heard that from others. That's acknowledging. And then we're going to go to this slide, which is going to be the unload, then unpack. And for the life of me, I'm a little bit flustered because I don't know why these slides aren't working. So unload, then unpack. So we go into the celebrity role play. The rules are very simple, and I'm going to lose my mind here. That's technical problems. That's on me. I'm attempting to do my slideshow and Zoom at the same computer. So you'll have to I'm going to roll with this. This is live TV. The celebrity role play rules are as follows. Number one, I've asked Chase or Aaron, I don't know which one's going to do it, to choose the scenario. They're either going to be a buyer or seller, and the scenario has to be on an appointment. This is not a lead generation call, because basically what I'm the best at and unbeatable at is basically winning at the table, winning at the appointment. So they get to choose buyer or seller. They'll give me their scenario. They get to choose the degree of difficulty on a scale of 1 to 10. And then I have no prior knowledge. I have no earthly idea what they're going to do. And they're going to be in Alaska, or at least Aaron's going to be in Alaska. And if he's not at least fair with me, I'll make sure he probably doesn't make it back. So which one of you are going to be my victims? Or maybe
Mr. Wilson.
Russell. Aaron Wilson. You're going to be the victim, right?
Sure.
Awesome. Are you going to be a buyer or seller?
Let's go with seller.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 means you're a lay down, you want to sign the papers without even me showing up, and 10 means you're Freddy Krueger. Where are you on that scale?
Let's go ahead and do a 7.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so you're a seller, and give me the scenario, please.
You know what? I'm looking at. I kind of need to down or increase the size of my home due to my family right now. Kind of growing. However, I don't need to move. However, I'm very concerned with what's going on right now with the latest, with the COVID, and also the riots and just the unstableness of I'm going to say even from my mindset, from the economy standpoint, there's so many things that are going on that, you know what, I'm just going to wait till all this stuff settles down and we'll see how things go from there.
Well, that's the kind of a seller, if you're having a bad day, you'll just hang up the phone. That was a mouthful, right? And this is not going to be like a 4-hour listing presentation. We'll maybe do this in 10 or 15 minutes. So what I heard you say, and are we at the kitchen table?
Yes, we are. Let's do it.
Awesome. So it could be Zoom. We're at the kitchen table. Now, when I do my role plays, I'm going to step out of role just to kind of let you know what my thinking is. Okay, this is going to be the play-by-play. This is where the NFL casters are kind of drawing on that little teleprompter thing, right? Well, okay. So Aaron, thanks so much for having me over. You just kind of like had a mouthful there, and I did my best to take notes, and I want to gain some clarity about why we're meeting and what you might want to do after this meeting's over. So do you mind if I ask you some questions?
That's fine. Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so let me just ask you, based on your opinion of the market as selling a home right now, and there's no right or wrong answer, do you feel the market's working in your favor or against you?
I think it's kind of against me right now because there's a lot of things that are unstable. So the unknown.
I got that. There seems to be a lot of unknown there in the marketplace right now, right? So you had mentioned to me on the phone, I just want to clarify that you wanted to basically increase in size because your family's growing. Is that the reason you want to sell?
Yeah, it is. However, I don't need to sell.
I understand. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning you don't have any interest in selling, and 10 meaning you would like to sell. And I know you're not a 10 right now. However, 10 meaning if you would like to sell in the next 30, 60, 90 days, where do you find yourself on that scale?
Probably around a 5.
Okay, awesome.
If the opportunity comes up, then I can jump on it. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that's a great start. So what has to happen, Aaron, for you to get from a 5 to a 10?
There's got to be some serious pressure behind it for me to do it.
Okay, pressure. Okay. Now stepping out, I have no earthly idea what he's saying yet. However, what I'm attempting to do is to demonstrate with you to unload before you unpack, because the temptation is, well, describe pressure for me, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into maybe a 3 or 4 minute conversation about what that is. And many times, unless you've really done this a lot and you're trained, it's hard to go back to the unloading the packages. So you're saying there's some sort of pressure would have to take place, right? I mean, you'd have to be pressured to move. Is that it?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Yeah, it looks like it's one kid now, but if it's twins, then yeah, we got to move. That's the pressure I'm talking about.
Oh, your wife's expecting. When is she due?
Goodness, this is an awkward conversation here, but let's just say 6 months.
All right, groovy. Groovy's an acknowledgement too. I forgot to put that on the slide. So, other than pressure, what else would have to happen to get you to a 10?
I think I don't know. From a standpoint of 1 to 10, I would say it'd have to be my wife being on board as well. Obviously, could.
All right, and Chase, are you going to be the wife right now? Because I wouldn't be meeting with you without the wife.
Absolutely.
This is going to laugh. Remember the word laughter, right?
That's right.
So, all right. So you know, obviously, let me ask you, Chase, are you on board?
The thought of picking up and moving right now gives me heartburn.
Yes, I understand. Other than that, though, is there any, I mean, would it be kind of cool to be in a bigger house, particularly with maybe twins on the way?
I mean, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to be in a house? I just, the headache of getting into packing and unpacking, especially with my condition right now, is not very fun.
That's why you're standing in front, because you're the assistant. So, all right. So, all right, pressure, and assuming that you're on board, Chase, what else would have to happen, you guys, you guys, for it to be a 10 for you?
For me, is I don't want to have to do anything. I would love to have a bigger house. I'd love to have everything set up. Timeline is there is absolutely no way I'm doing this, 4 months from now.
And it'd have to be the house. And not only that, but I don't want to be stressing about the financial aspect of it as well. That's just something that, yeah, that just gives me anxiety thinking about that. If I have to increase my, price of the property or the monthly payment, I'm uncomfortable with that.
So let me then ask you, because I've been taking some notes because I really want to understand your situation. It sounds like, things have to line up. Like, obviously you both have to be in agreement. You want to move. You want it to be kind of seamless, easy. That's what Chase had to say. And moving sooner would be better than moving later towards the later in the term. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And would you both have to be financially comfortable with the decision moving forward?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that would take you to a 10. Now I have a better understanding of where you guys are. Now, when I first got here, you talked about you're having me here for a reason. So you do have motivation to move, correct?
Absolutely.
And with that motivation, you have some concerns, and you had mentioned several concerns to me. You don't need to move. You're a little bit concerned about COVID. And obviously there's some civil unrest going on right now and some uncertainty about the economy, right?
Yep.
Wow. Is there anything else that's, concerning you about moving now?
I think those are some pretty big rocks. So no.
They are. So let me just ask you this, because I've written them down. Of the 4 things that concern you, well, actually there's 3, because you don't have to move. You were talking about the COVID, the uncertainty, the riots, et cetera, and the economy. Which one of those really kind of floats to the top for you guys?
Timeline. If it doesn't happen quickly, there's no way we're doing it when I'm due or with a newborn.
Now, what's interesting, stepping out of role, when you see that happen in real life, when one of the spouses basically, or the couple, steps up and boom, and said, do you think that might be something you want to remember? So, and you can all identify with this, right? I mean, obviously, many of you guys have worked with families or will work with families that are expecting mothers and then they're concerned about doing a lot of different things. So when you say the timeline, so what you're saying then, Chase, is that you would like to have this move settled, but well before the baby comes, correct?
Yes.
Now, here's where a lot of agents might make a mistake. Notice Chase spoke up. I haven't heard from Aaron yet. Have you ever worked with a couple that you think they're in tandem and they're not? So he may have another concern. So Aaron, what is the major concern for you?
Mine's that uncertainty piece, and also I don't even want to come close to stressing out my spouse here.
So you want her to be happy?
Of course, and I don't want to, be moving when, in the third trimester at all. That's just, if it gets to that point, then you know what, we're just going to hunker down and kind of wait a couple of years and look in the future there.
So do you have to, let me ask you this, do you have to buy, do you have to sell before you buy?
Not that I know of.
Not do you know of.
I could probably turn this thing into a pretty good rental.
Okay, so you're willing to move forward without the sale of your home, is that correct?
I could, but that adds more stress, so I don't want to do that.
So you would prefer to have the house under contract and sold before you can move into your next house?
Yeah.
And you mentioned easy a couple times. Notice I wrote that word down. Now I'm feeding that back to them. What do you think of the idea of being able to actually close on this house and move into your new house kind of like seamlessly?
That's the only option.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. So here's the thing. If a doctor were to give you, now you're going to hear something familiar, guys, however, they led me right into it. If a doctor were to give you a medicine you've not had before, would you really appreciate the doctor giving you a few extra minutes of his time to explain the potential side effects of taking that new medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not your doctor. However, I am a real estate professional. And I noticed you guys had, at least Chase, Aaron, you had mentioned you're a little concerned about the economy, et cetera, right? However, you do also say that you think the market's working against you. Would that mean that if it's working against you, that selling sooner is better than selling later?
I think it's yes, because in the event to where if property values go down in the future and I'm moving into a bigger house, that's a lot more potential for more equity to be lost.
So what I'm doing now, she's already on board with it. I want to get this thing over with because I don't want to be doing this in the third trimester. He's the one that's vocalized the concern. So I'm just going back and covering any financial concerns he may have. Well, let me ask you a question. How would you like to have your cake and eat it too, you guys?
Yep.
I like cake. I'm pregnant.
Well, do you know what I mean by that?
What do you mean?
I think I do. You're talking about being able to sell the house, get into the new house, and be settled, and basically get this behind us in a positive aspect.
Well, absolutely. So, for example, going back to the side effects, let me ask you a question. Do you think there's some concern and uncertainty in the marketplace right now that maybe some sellers and buyers are feeling?
Oh, absolutely.
So you are going to be a seller first and then the buyer. So let's just take the seller role for a second. If there's other sellers that feel like you feel, and they're not talking to somebody who's going to give them potential side effects, do you think the sellers may take their house off the market or delay putting it on the market because they're concerned about the uncertainty?
Yes.
Yep.
So would it be to your advantage if you happen to keep your house on the market when other sellers were taking their houses off or other sellers weren't putting their houses on the market?
Yeah, I do.
Because it'd be what? Less competition, right?
Supply and demand.
And so buyers and sellers are both people. And so do you think some buyers out there maybe have some concerns or because of the uncertainty that they're putting their buying decision on hold? Do you think that might take place?
Yeah.
I do.
So imagine, this is what I meant by having your cake and eat it too. Because you're keeping your house on the market, there's less competition from other sellers, which is a win for you, correct? And because there's fewer buyers on the market, meaning the people that don't really need to buy are stepping out of the market, then you as a seller only have people in the market that are serious and motivated. Do you see how that might work in your advantage?
I can see that.
So it would be, and if you decided to wait, because you said you're not in a hurry, if you decided to wait and maybe just tough it out with a bigger family coming, by the time you start feeling comfortable, would other sellers and buyers feel comfortable too?
Yes.
And therefore there's more sellers coming on the market, there's more competition, and your advantage is gone. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It does.
So in spite of the things you had mentioned, the concern you mentioned, do you not see it to your advantage to put your house on the market now versus later?
I agree, but I think we have to come up with some sort of a deadline time frame because,
A cutoff if we don't.
if we don't sell this house, and we're done.
Okay.
We're gonna have to wait because that's just gonna add more stress, and I'm not willing to risk that.
So if we could come up with a deadline that you're happy with, are you ready to move forward with me today?
I would be.
Yes.
Okay, Chase?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to stop for a moment there and just kind of debrief it. Anyone can kind of chime in and say something or whatever. I mean, you could even become more difficult if you wanted to. So let's just stop right there. And you guys as buyers and sellers, I know I threw a curveball to you because I didn't want the wife not to be there because it becomes a little bit more difficult, and I don't want to train people to have a presentation with one person. What's your guys' blinker? Any comments from the crowd out there? You can type into chat or you can unmute yourself if you're on Zoom. Aaron,
I like that phrase. Can I tell you what most people do in your situation?
in my is the agent situation?
No, like from the agent perspective, talking to the clients. Do you mind if I tell you what most people do in your situation, or in your circumstance?
Okay. Are you now the agent? You role playing?
No, I just saying I like that phrase.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. What else, you guys? What else are you thinking? How were you feeling as a potential seller?
I initially kind of got a little bit more anxiety because I'm like, oh man, if we get into a situation, am I really going in the right direction? If we put our home on the market and it doesn't sell, and then I've got to, I think this is where I would have a lot of anxiety is, all right, now I have to buy. I don't have to buy right now, but once I sell my home, I have to buy. And I've put my wife and kids into a situation to where it just brings on more stress. So initially, I think I get into that kind of a mindset, and then it kind of deters me away from it.
All right. Well, why don't you just do that?
However, you closed it real well, I think, personally, because, all right, let's do it. Let's have a game plan, i.e. 60 days or whatever. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. However, I'm willing to go with that.
There's a script that we've used in several of the role plays in the last several weeks, and some of you guys may have heard it before. It's like, because of the uncertainty, I call it the uncertainty script. And let's say you're still pushing back a little bit on that. And I'll just say to you, Aaron, I understand completely what you're saying. I know there's a lot of uncertainty in there, and you don't want to be in a pressure to buy a home. Would you like to know the two things I know for certain? The first thing is that there's going to be winners and losers in this market. And I assume you want to be a winner, correct?
Yes.
And the second thing that I know for certain is that you can't win in this market unless you're in this market. So you just said you don't have to sell, which means if we put your home on the market today and you don't get a number that you're happy with, do you have to sell it?
No, but it increases that anxiety because now I have to deal with a rental and the newborn and, third trimester. So there's a lot of stuff, the unknown that's on the plate there that's coming up, and the economy and all this other stuff. So that's why I have that little hesitation to this.
Actually, there's no unknown, because here's the thing: if you don't feel comfortable moving forward on a house to move into, do you have to sell your house ahead before you buy something?
No.
And here's the thing: you talk about stress and having a little anxiety. Would you have any anxiety knowing that your house is worth less and less every day, and that perfect house may be out there for you and your wife to move into in a very seamless transaction, and you're missing that opportunity? Would that cause you some anxiety?
That would.
So I could go down that path, because here's the deal. Number one is buyers and sellers will not win in this market unless they're in it. And sellers don't have to sell unless they get a price they're happy with. And in this particular case, I mean, if they have the ability to buy a house, if they according to they think they do, and they may elect to go in that direction first. The bottom line is the seller's totally in control of their situation. Now let's talk about the timeline just a minute. I don't know if any of you guys will be nervous about that. I would not be nervous about that at all. And here's the reason why, and this would be another discussion. Who controls the length of time it takes to sell a home?
Seller.
Seller. By what? Price.
Yep.
And you know, we've had this conversation before, and there we have the 1 of 3 things happen sheet, which is available to you guys. Anybody wants it, just go to my Denny Delivers training. I think it's a Facebook page, and we'll give you the PDF, and you can actually brand this. There's only 3 outcomes when you list the house, right? And you know what? If they have a 60-day time frame and they pick a price, and they have outcome number 1, we're way too high. Outcome number 2, we're a little bit too high. So understand the speed of the sale is always up to the seller. I tell them that the time frame. I don't really care what time frame they give me. I may be driving the car. However, your foot is on the gas pedal, so the speed is totally up to you. Any comments from the group, questions that you want to ask these guys about the role play? Because here in a second, I'm going to let them show off their muscles, so to speak. And one thing I love about this team, other than their production, I'm not up to 500 homes a year yet. However, we are patterning their team, and it's been awesome, awesome, awesome. I credit my director of growth for setting up practice and role play every day at 8:30 to 9. We do it religiously. My team is on it religiously, and these guys are actually doing it with their team, and we kind of modeled what they're doing. So anyone from the crowd that has anything to ask, or maybe a question to give them, and while you're thinking of that, you guys set the scenario, and we'll role play with you. So who's doing the role play? You're going to be the agent, and who do you want, buyer or seller, in what scenario?
Is that a question to us?
Yeah, you're the agent, so we're gonna role play with you. I'll probably be the role play unless somebody else from the crowd wants to do it. So, do you want to be the agent handling a seller or a buyer?
We get some pretty good inbound internet leads.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So through either Curator, which is our online marketing platform, or like a Zillow, something like that. So those inbound leads are huge for us as far as that fact-finding conversation of motivation.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we don't have a history on them, so therefore we're trying to find out as much information as possible and grab their information.
so you know how that goes. So one of you guys be the inbound lead, and the other one be the person handling it, and we'll just listen.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Call me. Don't look at me though.
All right. Ring, ring.
This is Chase.
Hey, Chase. How you doing? This is Aaron. I'm actually looking at the house over here on 123 Street.
Awesome. Give me a sec. Let me pull that up.
Yep.
All right. How can I help you?
What's the price?
We are at $259 on that.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
What brings you to the area? What are you looking for?
Well, I'm just looking in the area, this particular area right now. I'm just looking at relocating out here. So,
Awesome. Where are you moving from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. One good thing about Tucson, Arizona is you do not have to shovel sunshine.
That's a fact. That's exactly why I'm moving. My back is done.
There you go. So are you moving out here for a job, retiring? What's your plans?
You know what? I am doing a job transfer, but I plan on actually retiring a little bit after that.
Perfect. Do you currently own a home back in Minnesota?
I do. I got, it's already listed and we're ready to go. We have a couple of showings that are scheduled here for today, but we're planning on being out there one way or the other because I'm a part of a relocation company as well. So they're paying some of my stuff. So, but I'll be out there.
Awesome. Just out of curiosity, with that relocation company, do you have to use a preferred lender or preferred agent with them, or do you get to choose your agent?
I have no idea.
Okay. Gotcha. So if this house works out for you, are you looking to pay cash for it or finance it? What's your plan?
I'm gonna take some of the proceeds from this house, but to put down on the property, and then I'll be, But yeah, I'm just looking for more of the school district and whatnot for that area. So
Awesome. So you got some kids?
I do.
Perfect. So let's do this. We actually have an open house on that property on Friday, but I will be in that area this afternoon. Would you want to meet over there and take a look at the inside of it?
You know what? I wouldn't mind. I see it online right now, but so what's the status of it? You say there's an open house this Saturday?
Yeah, there's an open house. It's still on the market. We've had quite a few showings since it came on. No offers yet. But I'm sure you know that the market here in Tucson, you've been looking around a little bit, is on fire. So I'd like to get you in that property this afternoon to look at if you're available to.
I could probably do that.
Perfect. So let's do this. I am going to go ahead and calendar you in for 4 o'clock. I'm actually going to send you a calendar invite to block off both of our times. What's a good email address for you?
Aaron@gmail.com.
Awesome. And this is your cell phone number that you're calling me from?
It is. It is.
Perfect. So I'm going to send you that calendar invite. Hey, just out of curiosity, have you spoke with a lender yet to finance the balance between your equity of your current house and the purchase of this one?
I have out here, but I haven't talked to anybody. I was actually going to go online to Quicken.
Okay.
And kind of go that route.
So let me do this. I'm going to connect you as well in a group message with Paul, who's our preferred lender. What's cool about him is he can go out and shop this loan to several different banks to get you the best rate. Just something to do and to think about, because with the market right now, there's a good chance that this could go under contract here within the next 24, 48 hours. So we want to make sure that we can get you pre-approved if this is something that you like, so we can write an offer on it. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think I got no problem talking to a lender there, but I don't know about putting an offer in that as of yet.
Perfect. Let's get you to have some eyes on it, and I will send you that calendar invite, and we will see you at 4 o'clock.
All right. See you soon.
All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Aaron, difficulty, what were you?
I think that's about a 4 or 5. I was very four. I'm going to say an internet lead. Most of them don't talk. They just want info, and that's it and done. Sometimes once I got the price, click. They got what they wanted. So I think about a 4 or 5.
And with an inbound phone call lead that we get, that is a much warmer lead versus somebody that just registered online to view the property. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning, they're eating Cheetos and just want to look at something.
So do you make outbound calls, Chase, you guys? Is that something you do, or you have something else to do that?
Our agents make outbound phone calls to those leads, whatever round robin it comes in.
Okay. Anybody from the group want to give them, what'd you learn? What'd you think they did well? He checked off several boxes that I was listening for. I mean, basically, you've got a buyer. I mean, sometimes we think that they're always going to turn, their head's going to do a 360 and have projectile vomiting. Many times if they're interested, I mean, they're going to talk to you. And so what did you guys get out of that? What do you think they did well? And what did you pick up on that? I see some regulars. Al, come on, you're not too shy. Or Jim, what do you have to say?
Yeah, well, what I want to say is you seem to give up the price a little quick. Does that work well for you normally? Because I find, like one of you said, that, you get a click after the price or thanks a lot, clunk. And as opposed to, give me a second to look it up. And between now and when I find it, can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, in regards to the price, if this was 5 years ago, you could use that tactic as far as I'm holding the price captive, if you will, to get more information. With the internet and everything else nowadays, that house has been syndicated to so many different websites. They're going to find the price with or without me very quickly.
I also think that the way he answered it, he followed up real quick with a question to keep me engaged instead of just the price pause. Because if there's a pause there, I think you lost them.
Yeah, I noticed that, and we teach that actually in Classic Bold. That's an amazing home. We're getting a lot of calls on that. What price range were you looking for? While I looked that information up, what price range you start asking some questions. What price range were you looking for, Aaron?
Yep. Yeah, right around 250 to 275, whatever.
Oh, we have got great taste. That house is listed at 1.3 million. However, we have some others that might be in your
Yeah.
So, any other? Thanks for that, Jim. Who else has got a comment on that? Now,
one surprise I had was he mentioned that schools were important, and you asked if he had kids, and he acknowledged that, but you didn't ask the age or to tell what type of school to do any research ahead of time before you met him.
Yep.
Is there a reason for that?
Nope, just didn't get to it. I think going forward is if you have got someone that is willing to meet you, in this case, 4 hours from now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more conversations that go in depth. I heard this a long time ago is don't talk yourself out of an appointment.
Yep.
If someone says yes to meeting, you know, there's if someone says yes to meeting, you can only talk yourself out of the appointment going forward.
You know, I think that's a great point, and I would attest to that. You know, I know that I run into doing these role plays for the last month or two, and even going through the bold pivot. There's this need for people to build rapport. Get the appointment.
Yeah.
Get the appointment. Now, do you think there's power? Let me ask you guys this: is there power? And Al, this is a great question. I'm glad you brought this up. Is there power in saying, okay, you got the information, you got the number, blah, 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 and maybe 30 minutes or an hour before the appointment, you call them up. Hey, Aaron, this is Denny, Keller Williams. We got an appointment in an hour. Do you mind if I ask you another question? And is there power in giving a follow-up call? Hey, while we're going to look at that, I found this other house that might be of interest. Is there power in that, you guys?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, and it gives you an opportunity to talk to him. And so if you can get the appointment, take it. Now, one thing I don't know if you covered, and I was reading the chat, and I might have missed it, you guys. Did you ask if he was working with another agent?
Yeah, so he had asked about he had said that he was working with the relocation company, and my question was, is he bound to using an agent that the relocation company provides?
Okay.
And he doesn't know.
So I trust that you guys basically are asking that question before you go to a property. It shouldn't be one of your first ones you ask. However, I love the Columbo approach, and there may be a few people on the call that are old enough to remember the TV show Columbo. It's just kind of like you just think he's out the door, and the bad guy is thinking, "Ooh, he didn't ask me the tough questions." And what does Columbo do? Oh, by the way, Jed, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I mean, are you currently working with another agent? You see, that's it. Almost like, like I almost forgot to ask type thing. So very disarming. Any other comments from the gang? There was a couple questions that came in. Number one, on our role play, guys, if your timeline was 90 days, would you take a 90-day listing? So I'll let you answer that. Do you guys take 90-day listings?
I honestly, well, here's the deal. The listing agents can answer that one there. I don't care if it's a 45-day listing. Because what I'm looking at is our statistically, if the home is not sold within 30 days, there's something wrong.
Right.
So it depends on the market, depends on the home, depends on a lot of different deals. I don't look at a timeline on holding somebody into a contract. That's just me.
And I would say yes for the fact that right now our agents I think that we're at like 40% of the average days on market for Tucson. Our listings are.
Yep.
So because like in Tucson, for example, our listing agents are absolute rock stars. I would have no problem taking a 30-day listing. Like if they're gonna take it, they're gonna go into it with the right motive and right fact finding.
Yes, and I would encourage everybody on the call. Here's the bottom line in most markets, and certainly in the sweet spot price ranges. If it's not sold in 90 days, I can tell you one of two things are happening, or both. Number one, the agent's not talking, or the seller's not listing, or both, because the market will absorb something if it's in the price range. Now, my listing, I have only a 1-week listing, so that's one of my value propositions. That, hey, well, you take a 60-day listing or a 90-day listing. Well, how about I only take 7-day listings, and that's exactly how I say it.
And you have a 100% chance of not selling that listing if you don't take it.
That's right. And what is the goal of the appointment? Take the listing. What is the goal of the call? We just saw these guys role play. Get the appointment. And so, and if you have a chatter and you got the appointment, Al, there's nothing wrong with getting more information. However, don't talk yourself past, I'm talking to newer agents. I know you're not newer. Don't talk yourself past the appointment. All right, so one other question came up here is that if the seller, now going back to our role play, one of the sellers says the amount they get to the house is very important, and they want and they need to sell in order. They need to sell in order to buy, and they have to get the most money they can, and they want to start with a higher price. I'd love to do that. So can we go back? And that's what you said to me about pricing, right? go back to the role play with Chase and Aaron, and you say, hey, look, you know, you got to buy something. You got to get, you want to start with a higher price.
Okay.
Right? So here's the thing. You guys know me. I don't set prices. I set expectations. So Tucson, we're talking about what's the price you guys expect? What do you want for your home, you guys?
I need to get 300 out of it.
Okay, 300. Is that the net? No. Clarity is power.
There you go.
So if we were, are you prepared to move forward with me today if we listed at 300,000?
Well, for clarity, if I can pull out 100,000 even, I'm okay, and I can move forward. How about that?
Okay, so are you saying that you're ready to move forward with me today and list your home if you can pull out net less your closing costs 100,000, correct?
I'd be a happy camper.
All
Free
right,
and clear. After all said and done, and all the bells and whistles or whatever, if I can walk away with a check for that amount, then we're moving forward.
Okay, and so because we don't know what your expenses are or whatever, therefore that would mean we'd have to have a sales price of what?
Looking at 330.
Okay, and give us some background. Well, 330, and so let's just assume that there's only been one sale above 300, and that was at 312, and the rest are right around the upper 290 range. Would that be fair?
Okay.
So here's the thing. You're dealing with a seller. We're not changing the scenario. We're dealing with a seller who does not have to sell. All right. So I have learned, particularly with a seller that has motivation. So let me ask you guys, do you feel this couple has motivation? I think so, because, you know, it's the mother to be is going to be doing one of these sooner or later to the guy who wants the big numbers, right? And it's just one simple question I'm going to ask. All right, I get that. Aaron, what are you going to do if the market says no?
Well, I guess we're just going to hunker down.
Okay, so you're going to stay, correct?
Yep.
All right, and then how do you feel about that, Chase?
I mean, obviously it'd be an exciting time to move into a new house with the new baby and everything, but I get it. If the numbers don't work, they don't work.
One thing I want you guys to always remember, and I've got people on this call that are not necessarily Keller Williams, so that you may not get the joke. Listen, Keller is on our sign, Keller Williams, right? Our name is not Helen. We are not miracle workers. Okay, so if they want a number that's not doable, here's the thing, don't promise it. Remember, do not set prices, set expectations. I asked the question, what are you going to do if the market says no? Because here's the thing, so here's the thing, you guys, so what you're saying to me is if you don't get 330 or pull out $100,000, you're going to stay put. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of have to. We're kind of forced into it.
Okay, so help me understand why you're forced into it.
Well, because we're not going to get what we want out of it, and ultimately it's for all the stress and everything that we got to do over the next upcoming months, we'll just hunker down and, you know, apply more principal, and then basically in about 2-3 years, then find the property.
Okay, so now there's a lot right there. Now, I want to make a point, and I forgot the first word is because I wasn't writing at the time. Does hunker down sound like a picnic? I mean, these guys are military guys. Hunker down is what you do in a foxhole. It doesn't sound like they're having fun, right? So what else is wrong with that scenario? Is that, I'm just showing you what's going on in my mind. If they wait till their house is worth more money to get them what they need, what's the probability the house they want to buy is going up as well?
Yep.
They're not winning, right? Now, so here's the thing. We have to save them from ourselves. So let me ask you this, you guys. So you're willing to wait a year or two, correct? How old your twins be? They'll be what, year and a half, 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
And is there any guarantee that you're going to be able to pull out that kind of money in the next year or two?
Just depends on the market, really.
Yeah, sure. So if the market goes up, it'll be good, right?
Yep.
You'll pull out 100, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what will the house you want to buy be doing?
Probably gaining value too.
And so are you gaining ground or keeping the same or losing ground?
We'll actually be losing because of the difference in price point.
All right. Now there's another direction to go too. Now, so number one, generally speaking, people can have unrealistic expectations. So they want to pull out X number of dollars. And I can tell you in my marketplace, there's a lot of people say, well, I don't want to lose money. They have to give you all these reasons why they have to net so much money. Well, they want to net so much money so they can buy something. Well, is it possible, you guys? Now you said that basically you can hunker down here, which means you're going to sacrifice too many people in a small space. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to sacrifice too many people in enough space? It just may not have the same backyard you want, or it may not have the pool. You see, where's the greater pain here? That could be another tack. You guys comment. What would you guys do? How do those?
Another one I look at too is that's great. Wait a year and a half right now. What we do right now is that we are still at historically low interest rates. Unfortunately, in 2 years from now, we can't ask for June 2020's rates. But if it does go down in 2 years from now, you can refinance and get an even lower rate if that's the case. So not only are you going to, your house value is going to increase, the house you want is going to increase, but running numbers is it's still going to be at a deficit from now because interest rates most likely are going to be a little bit higher.
Right. Awesome.
Denny, I go back to what you said, which I think is a phenomenal statement. I wrote that down, was buyers and sellers want to win in this market, but unless they're in it, they're not going to win.
Right.
And I think if we can just find out the win for them as well, I think that's key, and that goes through conversation and drawing it out.
What's interesting, I was able to listen to Gary Keller a little bit today when he's speaking to Brad Edmond. I was, of course, logged on to that. And Gary's talking about the market. And I know that the market... Alarm going off?
There we go.
Good. The market is doing something very interesting. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more on Thursday, is that, and Gary Keller said something very similar. There's not been a whole lot of price retraction at all, particularly in the sweet spots. I think you guys even said you had an awesome, maybe a record month in the month of April, or I don't know what your main number was.
Record month in March, and then again this June or March, or
right.
May.
So if you guys out there are working with any buyers, I know that early on in March, we were role-playing buyers want to wait till there's a buy one, get one free world out there. Does it look like that's happening? No. Now, the other thing that hasn't happened yet is this, and I want you guys to know this because this is just information. Gary was talking about this as well. He talked about it on the Platinum call that our economy is about $1.7 trillion a month. The government has been funding with PPP and IDL, IDCL, or XYZ, or WMYOP, all those different programs, right? Have we felt the economic ripple of what's gone on yet?
Nope.
Not yet. So here's my point. For 10 years, I can say for most markets across the country, it has been a steady march, not crazy march, a steady march upward, solidly a seller's market. Now, it still may be a seller's market in most markets right now. However, it's not as solid as it once was, and there's still uncertainty. So if you're working with any buyers now, they're missing an opportunity if they don't step in the market, because just as Aaron was repeating this, the close that I use, you can't win in this market unless you're in this market, because once things kind of settle down, I know there's some social unrest and there's been a lot of unknowns lately. However, this too shall pass. There's probably better opportunity for a buyer to be in the market right now than it has in 10 years. Now, that doesn't mean buy one, get one free. That doesn't even mean they're going to get the lawnmower that doesn't start. However, it's better than it probably will be in the future. So whatever you guys do, help your buyers understand now is the best time to buy. When's the best time to buy? When sellers fear tomorrow may be worse than today. Now, that's not in all price points. That's not in all markets. It does exist in some scenarios. And in this particular scenario where they want to sell their house and get a high number, and then buy a house that's affordable, they're missing the opportunity as a buyer, because I think there's probably better opportunity right now as a buyer than there's been in 10 years. Guys, any comments on that? Or even from the group?
I agree.
I agree 100%.
Okay, so I had a couple people send me, I've got a few minutes here, a couple of things that came up, requests from the crowd. And one of them was, I don't want to work with a new agent. Now, I know there's a lot of agents on our teams that don't have a lot of experience. And of course, you can leverage the experience of your team. However, what if you are, I want to role play with someone basically, and guys, you can do it, or somebody else that is in a quiet spot, and you can be the seller. It says, I don't want to work with an agent that's new. Let's just assume they're a solo agent. The single agent thing kind of confuses me. Does that mean there's a married agent and a single agent? So I just go solo. Somebody run a role play with me, and then I'll let the guys do it too. I don't want to work with a new agent. So somebody on the line there that's in a quiet spot, be that potential seller.
I'll do it.
Daniel. All right. So awesome. So guys, you get ready. I'll turn it over to you in a second. I'll go through a couple things. So remember the formula: acknowledge, isolate, answer, close. So Daniel, you say you don't want to work with a new agent, right?
Right.
Awesome. So other than that, is there any other reason why you wouldn't hire me today?
I'm just not sure that you'd be able to give me what I need to sell the house.
Okay. Okay. You what you need. Okay. Is that now? Does that go back? Does that tie in with the fact that you don't want to work with a new agent? You don't want to work with a new agent because you're afraid they may not get you what you need?
Well, not now. Like, what happens if we get in a situation that's, you know, not a normal scope of things, like being a new agent? Would you even know where the resources are?
Okay. All right. Okay. So if we could solve those things, is there any other reason why you wouldn't do business with me today?
No.
Okay. So now here's the thing, you guys. What does new agent mean?
Inexperience.
Inexperienced. Yep.
All right. So, however, do we know what new agent means to him? So Daniel, so let me ask you a question. How do you define a new agent?
Well, a new agent to me is somebody that hasn't sold a house in this neighborhood yet. You know, it's kind of a unique neighborhood, and I want to make sure that I get the most out of my property, and I'm not leaving money on the table.
Okay, well, I understand that. So you're saying a new agent is an agent that has not sold a house in your neighborhood, correct?
Right.
Neighborhood. Any other definitions you have for new agent? See, I'm unloading you guys. You got to keep doing it, because if you don't, you're playing whack-a-mole. What else means is a new agent to you?
Knowing how to handle situations and helping negotiate the transaction. And I'm worried that a new agent's not going to have the skill set needed to look after my most valuable asset.
You guys, if you ask the right questions, they will give you the combination to unlock themselves. Listen to their words, okay? So, sold in the neighborhood, then handle situations, right?
Right.
All right, so would you be talking about situations like dealing with a difficult seller?
Are you saying that I'm a difficult seller?
Well, I mean, you're actually pushing back. So let me ask you a question. Do you want an agent that has the skill to basically overcome a buyer that pushes back? Would you want that kind of agent representing you?
Yeah, I want an agent that's going to fight for me, not just roll over and, you know, take orders.
Okay. Anything else that basically is your definition of a new agent? And keep in mind, this role play is going to be over pretty soon, so don't make it too much longer.
That's it.
So let me ask you that. All right. So let me ask you. So if I were an agent that basically had a year or two or 5 years experience, sold properties all over the town and none in your area, would you consider me new?
Well, it depends on your experience. Like you could have sold one house all over town and not had any experience, or someone did it for you. So
I just want clarity over. You said a new agent is somebody who's not sold a house in your neighborhood.
right. It's a very
So
unique neighborhood.
how many houses would I have to sell outside your neighborhood for you to consider me not new?
I don't think there's a number that associates with not being new. I would need to know that you have the skill set to be able to handle such a unique property.
Now, I want you to hear it. I don't have time to dig into it. Listen to their words. Unique. His house is special. Give me a break. All right. So then how will you know? What questions would you ask that agent to give you some sense of clarity that they're the right agent for you, that they're not, quote, new? By the way, hang on. I'm sorry asking two questions at once. That's like making two questions in a text. You'll not get one answer, right? What's the opposite of new?
Experience.
Okay. So what questions would you want to ask and have answered properly to demonstrate to yourself that they are experienced?
Well, I would want them to be able to explain to me the historical relevance of my neighborhood and display to me that they were able to, handle a situation that may be off the norm.
Okay, so I'm going to go and get ready to close. And guys, this will be kind of like wrestling tag team. I'll tag you guys and you guys can land the plane. All right, so then if I can demonstrate that I have those skills, would you consider me the agent to represent you to get your home sold?
I would contemplate it, yes.
All right, now I'll let the guys take over. Have we not kind of just changed the base of us having to defend the fact, I have this team behind me, I got this office behind me? Get clarity, and here's the thing. Now you have to demonstrate that you can answer certain questions, and then there's other reasons why they may want to do business with you because you may not be as experienced. Guys, you can start from the beginning with what you've got. You guys go ahead and take the role play, and then we'll kind of clear it with some ahas.
I took a couple notes there. One of the things that, and I'm going to, Daniel, me as a newer agent, okay? One of the things our industry, changes just like technology does. And you know how fast technology changes. So therefore, something that somebody's already mastered yesterday is actually new today. However, just to let you know, I'm fully embedded in staying on top of the industry, i.e. the technology within our industry, and the recent changes that go on daily. So with that being said, using the systems and the tools that I have at my fingertips, I'm the expert in the area. You know what? I'm willing to show you that. So what time would you like to meet up?
How can you show me that?
You're at the table,
Meet up,
Darren.
and
You're
I'll
at the
show
table.
you that. What's
Oh,
that?
we're at the table.
You're at the table.
Okay, we're at the. You know what? Then let me go ahead and start sharing some screens with you.
Okay.
Okay.
I use the marketing pieces of the tools that we have available, in our back pockets, what everybody does, and then we actually show that for the consumer.
Now, let me ask you this, because, and again, there's more than one way to play a chess match, and I certainly can't argue with somebody who sells 500 homes a year. So this is like, I'm the grasshopper and you're Mr. Miyagi, okay?
Is that because he's old?
Yeah, I have a bold license. So, can you do that via question? Because everything we do that I teach is question-based and not telling-based. Now you have a great stuff there. So to demonstrate to these guys how that would be a question.
Okay, let me try this because this is great because this is how I learn. Hey Daniel, would you think that the industry changes just like technology?
Yeah.
Just as fast?
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you how much, here I go. I'm stumbling here because I'm trying to put it in a question format, showing what tools I have available. So, would it be okay if I showed you the tools that are available in my tool chest that can actually impact the sale of your home to bring you the most money in the time that's allotted?
Okay, I'm going to call timeout just for a second. And again, we all learn from this. However, here's the thing, going back to his scenario, what was important to him?
Neighborhood expert.
Neighborhood expert and new agent.
Well, however, here's the thing, Aaron, again, Mr. Miyagi, you mind if I show the tools that that are available to us that shows and demonstrates how I'm the expert in the neighborhood?
There you go.
Because we have a habit of, and again, I'm just sharing with you, Most money, less time. Most money, less time. It's like that's what has been great. However, he never said anything about that. The objection for him is, hey, look, my unique house, unique neighborhood. I want someone who can articulate that. So that's what I'm kind of talking about here when I stress listening based conversations, because they will basically give you the arrows to shoot in order to hit their target.
Denny,
Yes.
may I please interrupt?
Yes.
I apologize, but I've been chomping at the bit here for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because I want to ask, you want to be question based. How about a question like this? So Daniel, what is the definition of an experienced agent for you? What do you see in an experienced agent?
Well, like I stated earlier, as an agent that's able to handle the situation and be able to negotiate on my best behalf. Someone has the skill set to be able to look after my financial assets and give me the most money for the sale of my house.
So what I hear you saying is you want someone who has the resources behind them to competently sell your property and represent you well. Is that true?
Yep.
So what I have as a resource is I've got a number of things because of my inexperience I'm learning on a daily basis, and there are several resources I have access to, one of which is coaching. I've got pretty much all the coaching I need on a weekly basis. And at any point, if there's something I don't know, I have the ability to find out and have those resources behind me to lead me along the way.
Matt, is that Matt? Your name's not
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
All right. So awesome. Here's the thing. Now, we did cover that a little bit up front. However,
I wasn't here for that, so.
that's okay. That's okay. However, the only thing I would say is that you guys, that's not a question. Now you're telling about coaching. The other thing is I probably, and again, there's more than one bladed chess match, not judging you. Thanks for speaking up, is the fact that I wouldn't acknowledge your inexperience.
Nope.
That's his concern. Yeah, I probably wouldn't say that. However, if you have the coaching, how would then, we'll put a button on it. How would you make that a question?
Yeah, that's the one thing I would want to know is how would I put that once I've established how he defines inexperience, how would I ask the question about having the resources to back that up?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And if we're a little bit over time here. So I guess the issue is, yes, who is speaking?
It's Mary.
Hey, Mary.
Just kind of off what they just said. I mean, if you do have a team, couldn't you use that as your resource, saying, well, how would you feel if I had a team backing me up?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what Aaron and I would want, our team members to do. However, I think there's a lot of solo agents out there that don't have that. I was attempting to give them some ammunition. And here's and we'll close it with some ahas and final statements here in a second. I just don't want to keep you longer than I promised. Listen, understand, make sure you totally understand where they're coming from, because he said up front, and I know I'm putting him on the spot, experience met selling a house in his neighborhood. Now, as soon as he said that, I had him at checkmate, and I didn't have to lay that card. And the easy thing would have said, so if you have a world famous doctor that moves to town as an orthopedic surgeon, although he's never operated on a knee in your hospital, would you consider them a new doctor? You see, they will give you the ammunition if you listen. The more challenging one was, I want someone who understands the intricacies of this historic neighborhood. He said something like that. We'll end it on that. And I'll let the guys, Matt, Aaron and Chase, or anyone else on that. What would be your closing statement on that? Because that seems to be Daniel's hot spot.
As far as being the expert in that area?
Yeah, Daniel, is that your hot spot?
Educated in that neighborhood. I'd ask, what's that mean to him? Is it literally reading and understanding the historical data? Great. Anybody with Google can do that. but it's real. I would ask more questions into that, because that is not that's not a skill-based objection. Meaning, we can Google Sam Hughes District in Tucson and find out about it, whether you're a realtor or not. So it's not there to me that there is 3 or 4 more. You're unpeeling the onion from there.
Got it.
I think it's more of, why is my house neighborhood unique, and thus why is it worth more than the neighborhood behind us?
Would be an awesome tag.
What
Another
if
tag.
you can find out more about that specific property that Daniel's in, because that gives you time to do a lot more research as well, to go in there and kind of show that you know what you're doing.
I would also ask the seller what it was about the neighborhood that he liked that caused him to move in there.
All great questions.
Circle prospecting and ask the neighbors.
Another one I'd ask is, Daniel, what's more important to you, me getting your house sold for the price you want, or me knowing about your neighborhood?
Drop the mic. That is exactly what I think would be the best question right there. You want a neighborhood expert that knows every little blade of grass, and they watched every home be built and knows every builders by their first and the kids' names? Or do you want somebody who's going to bring you a buyer to give you the most money for your home?
And by the way, Daniel, I've been at your kitchen table now, and I set this point with you, which shows that I'm a real estate agent that goes out and gets business and will get your home sold, versus sits behind Google and can tell you why the street is golden. Like I think that you can justify your actions as being a proactive and prospecting based real estate agent by sitting at the table, getting in the front door, versus one that is going to Google about the neighborhood.
Awesome. You guys are awesome. You guys are great. I'll leave you with this. I learned this in Bold. You're already at a yes because you're at the kitchen table. It's it's what we do or don't do that turns us to a no. If he already knew you weren't the neighborhood expert. Why are you there? And basically sell yourself, and don't, just get through the smoke and get to the bottom line. What do they really want to do? How can you articulate via questions and conversations to have you walk out with a signed listing contract? You guys are awesome. Class on Thursday, I'm going to be talking about some skill-based stuff, particularly some articles that just came out that will help you become the expert on the market. Danger, Will Robinson, May closings are going to be down. However, that doesn't mean there's bad news. So thanks, and be careful out there. Guys, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Danny.
All right.